So the Supreme Court, in an 8-1 decision with Clarence Thomas as the one dissent, said no to Trump and his wish to block or at least delay the release of presidential documents to the January 6 investigating committee. That there is stuff in there he definitely doesn't want seen and or heard is pretty clear. But nothing new there. This is the way the ultra-corrupt Mar-a-Lago Orange menace behaves, openly and unashamedly committing crimes, then working hard to hide the evidence. And yet, slowly but surely, we are seeing the legal walls closing in. If it's not the committee chasing him for his traitorous sedition on January 6th of last year, then it's Letitia in New York, rightfully getting in his face for being a pathological business liar, wildly exaggerating his asset values when convenient to get bank loans, and wildly reducing them when taxes or insurance were the topics. Or it's Fannie Willis down in Georgia, coming after him for unethically, very illegally, and very shamefully making telephone calls, asking for votes to be added to his total so he could win Georgia instead of lose it. As I've said quite a few times in prior videos, if you want to know this guy's game, why he's such a pathological liar, the best explanation is found via his axis Hollywood T-square formed by Eris, Mercury, and Neptune, and it is especially the Neptune square to Mercury that makes him both a liar as well as mostly a complete idiot. And if you want to know what is happening to him in current times, just check your ephemeris and you'll find a whirlwind of planetary aspects that even an honest and decent person would have a hard time with, much less a criminal cockroach forever intent on benefiting himself at the expense of others. Now, in terms of this judgment by the court, the big transits are necessarily going to contribute, especially the Neptune squaring the moon tightly and already connected to the sun by square, as well as because Neptune originates in the third sign of information, which is what he is trying to hide, but since the planet is now in a big square, it's not letting him. Meanwhile, transiting Pluto is piling on by opposing his Venus, and aside from contributing to this loss, it is also systematically destroying his career and reputation because Venus rules his 10th, zenith, and midheaven. Transiting Eris is in on all of this as well, and part of its role can be seen in the fact that 2 women are known to be prosecuting him. And on Eris, you need not worry about long-lasting, since it will be around doing this to his Saturn-Venus conjunction, especially the Venus, for the next decade or so, guaranteeing not just these women, but more likely a parade, a caravan of women coming after his hide, and very deservedly so. Now, in the more immediate moment of this court denial, meaning this month, this week, this day, then we see Uranus in its station directly squaring his Pluto, and thereby stopping dead in its tracks his usual self-assigned, autocratic, fascistic approach. And then from Aquarius, Saturn looks a little past the opposition to the degrees of Pluto, but notice the retrograde Mercury pulls it back, so that those 2 planets in tandem are doing a precise opposition, thereby making for 3 planets telling him to take his dictator mouth and shut it. Meanwhile, the fast-traveling Venus in Capricorn is not helping him, and if anything, is suggesting it will add to his frustration and discomfort over the next couple of weeks, as it will be making its direct station to come out of retrograde around 11 degrees Capricorn, which is more than close enough to link it to his axis Hollywood T-square. So, too bad for you, Donald. Now the committee is going to get its hands on all of your insurrection planning, lying, and manipulating, which almost certainly isn't a good thing. But the question is this the end of it? No way, not even close. The planetary situation remains extremely complicated for the next several years, as all of the planets are either doing something very challenging or they are signaling they are moving in that direction. Plenty of time for this repugnant degenerate to encounter the consequences for a life filled with lies, abuse, and crime.